Hello, everyone. This is your Native American Studies professor again, and this is the video lecture for weekly module 2. Um, so, this is a story that was relayed to me, that was told to me, and that's how things work. That's how many things, even outside of Native culture, work. We pass things along orally, right? So, this idea of an oral history, um, an oral archive, right? An oral library is really not so foreign or exotic. It's something we find everywhere. Um, the difference is that pre-invasion there was not these things were not written, and that's true across a lot of indigenous peoples, even when Europeans were still indigenous. Long time ago, thousands of years ago, because we were conquered by Rome, and then, so on and so forth. A history of that another time. Anyway, okay, so this is a story that is meant to summarize um, as to summarize the concepts that we're talking about this week, and it's using an example in order to summarize them. So sometimes things can be best explained through an example. Okay, so this is a story that was told to me by one of my students several years ago, um, on the Hoopa Valley. Whereas the Hoopa Valley tribe has honored CR with the opportunity to partner with them with an instructional site on Res, that anyone in the area can come and take classes there. So it's a real honor for me to be able to teach on the Hoopa Nation's land. Okay, and it's a real honor to work with them there, both students and staff. Okay, so this is a story that a young man who is Karuk and is the son of a very traditional dance family. I have never heard of an indigenous culture that does not have dance at its core. It is the primary way or a primary way of their religion, right? Religions. There's no single culture. There's no single indigenous culture, right? It's hugely important. Anyway, dance is central. Dance is ceremonial. Dance is highly sacred. And it is often performing or re-performing stories of how the world was first created, amongst other things. That's just one example. And a lot of these dances, the names for them, translate to putting the world right, to world renewal. And that is actually how the nations around here translate many of these dances. There's several dances, and they're done in a seasonal cycle. Anyway, that's for another time. But the way they're handled in the Karuk Nation is, and many others, that as different days of the dances are hosted by different families. And the songs and the stories and the ways are handed down in generations in the families, through families. And you're going to see that in a lot of Native nations, that the Lakota, the Hopi, the Zuni, the Mohawk. I could go on and on. There's so many that a particular part of the religion is held by a family. The Lakota, for instance, have there are different families that are in charge of different medicines, right? And all of those are needed. Okay, so anyway, but back to the example. So this young man, or back to the story. So this young man, and they're one and the same, right? And so the story is an example of what we're talking about this week. Anyway, young Karuk man, very traditional dance family, and his grandmother was teaching him their religion, right? And he was saying to her, and by the way, these things occur over a lifetime, right? The learning isn't just like between this age and this age. One is always learning. And anyway, so so this young man was being taught by his grandmother about his religion, and he said to her, he said, "But grandmother, why aren't we telling people about this? Why? I mean, if we've got it right, why aren't we out like telling people?" And his grandmother said that God created many different religions so that evil would have a harder time finding us. Let me say that again. God created many religions so that evil would have a harder time finding us. Okay? So what I would like you to do is to look for the paradigm, right? And we're going to get a fuller definition of that as you read the rest of the written lecture materials below this video. What the paradigm, the way of seeing the world, how that is reflected or can be seen in that story, right? So, and I want you to also think about other religious ways, right? Other religious pathways, other religions, other stories, narratives, right? That reveal the teller's perspective, right? And the cultural perspective from which that religion comes, right? So I want you to start to see that the way we see the world is created by the story we're telling ourselves about it. And that the way we see the world informs the way we act in it. Okay, that's it for now. Okay, bye-bye.